Hello everyone, Shahzad here. I'd like to first thank you for watching my second video. Today's topic is hijab. It's slightly related to yesterday's topic. I'd like to talk about this because I think it's one of the more important issues facing our community today, especially in the West. I never really thought about hijab growing up in the Iranian context. I knew that women covered their heads and also wore long garments. Some women wore the chador, which was kind of a larger encompassing fabric that covered their whole body. And I knew that religious men did something similar. They would wear long sleeve shirts and long pants, and they would avoid exposing their arms or their legs. Even non-religious men or even atheist men really in Iran wear pants. Wearing shorts is completely taboo. It's not acceptable in society. I kind of understood that to be the general Islamic understanding of what modest dress was for men and women. When I moved to America and began to really engage with other Muslim communities from other countries of origin in a meaningful way, I began to notice that there were different understandings of what was acceptable hijab. But specifically with regards to men, I noticed that it was acceptable for men from other Muslim majority countries to wear shorts and a t-shirt, even if they consider themselves religious. I even saw men praying in shorts and a t-shirt, which as an Iranian was a bit weird for me, but to them it was acceptable. I didn't really make much of it until one day, about a year into my university studies. I was walking down the aisle in a Walmart, and approached me a man and a woman. The woman wearing a niqab, which is the full face covering, and an abaya, which is a full dress. So essentially she was completely covered from head to toe. And the man walking next to her, who I assumed was her husband, was wearing shorts and a tank top. This juxtaposition really stood out to me. The woman wearing all black, covered head to toe, gloves, mask, everything. You can't see anything. And the man next to her is wearing shorts and a tank top. You can unfortunately see everything. You could make out his hair, legs, and his armpit hair and everything. It was not a pretty sight, to say the least. And although I noticed the discrepancy between the way that modest dress was applied and understood by Muslims outside of the Iranian context in the West, this really stood out to me and really forced me to look back at all the other examples that I had seen that weren't so egregious, that I had not thought much of. It really got me to think about what the reasoning behind this was. Why do we as Muslims have such a strict standard of what modest, correct Islamic dress is for women, and such a lackadaisical standard for men? And I got to thinking about it, and I think part of the issue is the way we understand what hijab is. Now, in modern Muslim parlance, in English, Persian, Arabic, I'm not aware of Turkish or other Muslim majority languages like Urdu and whatnot, but for these languages that I know, hijab is understood to be the simple scarf that a woman wears to cover her head. So you could hear Persian women say, "Voy hijabam kujast, mehman omad, oh, where's my hijab? A guest is coming." And whoever is near her would point to the scarf. And in the same context, a Levantine woman would say, "Oh, wait, hijabi." And her husband would point to a scarf. And in English, we say, "Oh, that woman is hijabi," or "she's not hijabi." So when we say the word hijab, we generally just mean the scarf. This is an incorrect understanding of the term. If we return back to the Quran and the Sunnah, when we're referring to that, the word is khimar. And that's the word that in classical Arabic refers to the scarf, the actual fabric that covers the hair. Hijab is a larger concept that derives from the three-letter Arabic root hajaba, which if we look at Al-Mani dictionary, means cloak, conceal, cover, curtain, eclipse, enshroud, concealment, concealing, covering, hiding, making invisible. So if we actually return to the Arabic root of this word, we're getting a concept, not necessarily an article of clothing. Now, the idea of this concept is to cover yourself, to conceal yourself. And it's not just a zahiri, an external covering or concealing. It's also a batini, an internal. So it's not just about what you wear. It's also about how you act. But today I'd like to speak about the what you wear element, because that is part of it. So when we talk about hijab being mandatory for all Muslims, it also means the men as well. So hijab isn't just an article of clothing that women cover their heads with. It's a concept of dressing modestly. So when I see Muslim men wearing shorts and a t-shirt, although that might be culturally acceptable for whatever reason, whether here or back in the Muslim world, it's not Islamically acceptable, especially if those men expect their sisters or their mother or their wife or daughter or whoever Muslim woman they're close to abide by these strict hijab standards, wearing a scarf, wearing an abaya, wearing an abaya al-aras, or a chador as we'd say in Persian. So if these men, we could just presume that they expect their wives to cover, should not they also cover? I think that they should. This isn't just my opinion. If we return to the Quran and go to the verse that's most commonly cited as the reason for hijab, which is Quran 24:31, it says, "And tell the believing women to reduce some of their vision and guard their private parts, and not expose their adornment except that which necessarily appears thereof, and to wrap a portion of their head covers over their chests, and not expose their adornment except to," and then the lengthy end of the verse goes into essentially elaborating on who is a mahram, which is a completely different topic. So this is the most commonly cited verse as to why women should wear hijab. But if we look at the verse directly before it, conveniently right next to it, it says, "Tell the believing men to reduce some of their vision and guard their private parts. That is pure for them. Indeed, Allah is acquainted with what they do." So in the Quran, when Allah tells us that women must be modest in their dress, in the same exact place, He's also telling us that men must be modest in their dress. So let us not forget that women are expected to be modest in dress, but also men are. And especially if you are a type of man who expects his woman to abide by this commandment, then you should also abide by it. So if you expect your wife to wear pants, then you should wear pants. You shouldn't wear shorts. And if you expect your wife to wear a long sleeve shirt, then you should wear a long sleeve shirt. I'm not saying that anyone has to do anything. I'm just saying that if we're going to expect something of our women, of our sisters, then we should also expect it of ourselves. We should not be putting double standards on the way we practice our religion, especially in these times when Islam is under magnifying glass and it's really suffering from a lot of stereotypes. It's incumbent upon us as Muslims to create the best image of Islam as a religion that does treat all believers equally. So men, I implore you, especially if you're the person who believes that women need to cover up and you believe in modest dress for women, I implore you to apply that to yourself in your own life and also dress modestly, especially in these times when being visibly Muslim is so dangerous in the West. So many Muslims are the victims of hate crimes just because they stand out as Muslims. So how can we men, who are commanded in our religion to protect women, expect women to dress modestly, which is difficult, and also expose themselves to a greater danger and difficulty of Islamophobia by being visibly Muslim in every avenue of life, but then not also apply that same thing to our lives? Why shouldn't we also cover? And I'm not talking about just wearing pants or a t-shirt. I'm talking about a covering that also tells people that you are Muslim. I believe that in these times when we're facing danger from every angle, that we should also carry some of that burden. We should also be visibly Muslim. We shouldn't just leave it up to our sisters to suffer the societal burden or to suffer the Islamophobia all alone. We as men should also take up some of that and take it upon ourselves to be visibly Muslim, and also use that as an opportunity, that being visibly Muslim, as an opportunity to present a good image of Islam, so that inshallah we can improve the image of our religion and reduce some of this Islamophobia by giving society the best image of what Islam is about and what Muslims are like. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them in the comments. If you agree with the message of the video, please take some time to share it to your friends. And please subscribe to see more videos. Until next time, peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum.